on video, and we share that with you guys. And we're just doing some updates and changing a few things around. So we at least wanted to give you something so you can hear the sound of our voices and us engaging in conversation and whatnot. And then we'll be back to our other format here coming up shortly. But last weekend, last Sunday, we had a great conversation, I thought, with, how do you know if you're in love and can you fall in love too fast? And that led to a couple of other subtopics that we discussed. But I thought it was a really healthy conversation and something that kind of caused you to pause, take a minute, and kind of think about what's going on. So, with that being in mind, and just kind of going through the news and seeing what's been updated, what's been posted, what's going on. I know that there is so much going on in the world and whatnot, but I wanted to reel it back in a little bit and kind of get back to our format of talking about yourself and your interaction with others, and whether that be a relationship, something with your family, something with your children, maybe an event at work. I kind of wanted to just talk about, what's going on in the world of law enforcement and justice. Now, we have a lot of people out here that want to say that they're here to reform our justice system and kind of put the control back in the hands of the people of the United States. Since when you go to court and you go to trial, the trial is composed of a jury, and that jury is the one that ultimately, after presented with the evidence from the prosecution and from the defendant side, they present you with the information, they paint a picture for you, the jury goes back and they deliberate, they discuss it, they have a conversation, and then they ultimately decide your outcome. Then the judge comes back in the picture and then tells you what your sentence, if any, is going to be, and that is your punishment. So we have a lot of celebrities that are in the news for being arrested, being charged with different crimes. All of them, as of right now, that I am aware of, are behind bars, with the exception of one that we're going to discuss, and that is A$AP Rocky. Now, A$AP Rocky, for those of you that don't know, I'll just put this out there. He is the significant other, the baby daddy, the parent, the partner in crime, the partner in life, the partner in love. He's the companion of Rihanna. Now, they share 2 children together. They've been together for a minute now, and they like to travel, take trips, go abroad, and do different things. So apparently there was an incident that took place a while back. This incident was caught on surveillance footage, and it was A$AP Rocky getting into a argument, a disagreement, and something that looked like it turned out to be violent, and they named it a shooting. They're saying that A$AP Rocky pointed his weapon, pulled a gun out from his person, and shot in the direction of A$AP Rocky. So upon A$AP Rocky's return to the United States after taking one of his famous vacations with Rihanna, he was met at the airport with police. And the police were there to arrest him for assault and for firing a weapon. And the story has then just kind of taken off from there. He was detained, he was questioned, he was granted bond, so he has been out and about in the free world because we've seen him attending different events and going different places. But Tuesday, February 18th, the jury came back and they made a decision that he was not guilty of the assault of A$AP Rocky. And my question, and that I wanted to present to you guys, and I wanted you all to kind of think about it yourselves and talk amongst yourselves and have a conversation with us in the comments, as to whether or not you felt like Rihanna's presence in the courtroom, Rihanna's presence with supporting him in court, and then ultimately bringing in their 2 children, during the court proceedings so that the kids could be there to see their dad. Do you think that Rihanna's presence and her being visible to the jury had any type of impact in terms of him being acquitted of these charges? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Those are the questions we're going to ask, and we're going to do it in, our usual way and kind of break it down and look at it from both sides, and then ultimately, form our own opinion as to whether or not was justice served, was justice swerved, and was it a significant factor with Rihanna being present by ASAP's side during this whole ordeal. So I'll pass it over to you, and we want to hear your opinion, Dominique, as to what you think about the situation.
Um, I wasn't so into it when it first, broke the news that he was in
Mm-hmm.
court and stuff like that. I mean, I
Right.
kind of looked at the facts and some of the stuff that they had. It was like more of like when I go on YouTube and something about ASAP Rocky or Rihanna comes up, it was more of like talking about the fashion instead of the actual trial. So back to
Yes.
your question of do you think that Rihanna had a big impact? Just in my personal opinion, yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
She is very known and celebrities, big celebrity. So yeah, it was like to me it was like, oh hey Rihanna, like ASAP Rocky, oh they're cute, you know, and it
Dressed
was
to the nines, their fashion's on point, designer everything. And yeah, that certainly I would think would make some type of impact. Because people are fascinated with celebrities. They're fascinated with what they wear when they go to Whole Foods and they're grocery shopping. They're obsessed with what they wear when they go out to lunch, when they go out to dinner, when they go to different events and whatnot. And with Rihanna having launched this, not only the beauty line that she's had, because she's had that for a minute, in skincare, but she also has launched hair care products, and she's got some other things that are coming down the line. I
and
just
not
wondered
only
if,
that, but I mean it's just I don't think no one was really taking the case serious. But
right.
because I don't know, just me included. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna say nobody, but I'm just saying like the people that I know I've been around, I talked to about it. Like I don't think nobody was taking this case too serious, and like I pretty much knew that with what the charges were and the events that happened, like Relly was like that's bullets, fragments on his knuckles, kind of reminded me of Meg a little bit, and with the
Yeah.
whole feet situation.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I mean, it just to me, it just looked like fighting, knuckles, like
Right.
you know.
Right. Like they came to blows, but I don't really know where the whole firearm in the gun thing came into play, because ASAP is not a fool. He's a celebrity, so
I'm
of
not
course
gonna
I'm
say
sure.
the GUN wasn't involved, but
Right.
you know what I'm saying. It was just like it was hard to try to put a case together like that. And
Right.
not only that, but I think her name is Neek at Night, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's another YouTuber. She actually interviewed one of the jurors that was actually
Yes.
there. I don't know if you
Yes, I
watched the
saw a clip
interview.
of that.
Okay, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, and she practically just said, it's not that they didn't believe that he would do something like that. It's just basically like putting all the facts together and what they had and the charges, it just didn't match up. It didn't stick. It wasn't
Exactly.
anything that was gonna stick. And I kind of get it because yeah, like I said, I wasn't taking it serious. Like to me it was like, okay, he'll be off because too much inconsistencies. And I mean, those pictures, it's like
Right.
I just
Right.
I just couldn't. So
Yeah, it was a bit much. I mean, the information and the pictures, as you said, that were presented, from the prosecution side, the scrapes and the cuts. I mean, he had some cuts on his elbows and cuts on his knuckles. I'm like, you mean to tell me that an AK, an automatic weapon is going to only cause you to have some scrapes on your knuckles and not some more, significant damage? To me, it seems like maybe they had come to blows, and maybe they were tussling and wrestling and had fallen on the ground, and maybe both of them were fighting for the weapon. It could have been something like that in that scenario. But just the fact that, okay, they had video of everything else and surveillance of everything else, but not actual surveillance of ASAP actually pulling a weapon from his person to aim it at Relly. And one of the other things that was pointed out was, Rocky's defense team pointed out that oftentimes when they travel, he will travel with an AKA a prop gun, just to kind of give an assumption that he may be carrying a weapon. But I don't think that it's legal for him to actually be in possession of a firearm. I forgot where I read it or was looking it up somewhere, but I don't think he has the ability to be able to carry, due to his criminal past history. But
well,
I'll double
isn't
check
that
that.
why they have bodyguards and stuff? He can't be
Hmm.
carrying anything anyway. I mean,
Right.
I'm
Right.
assuming that's why you pay your bodyguards and the people, your entourage, whoever else, that
Right.
may be licensed and a professional to do those things for you.
Right. You
But
let
I
them
mean,
you let them handle it.
it's just after just hearing like those accusations and stuff like that, it just became like just basically ASAP Rocky, I like what you wearing today.
Right. Right. Where can we find that at? Is this Burberry? Is this another designer that we need to keep on our radar? Is this in Neiman Marcus? Is this Saks Fifth Avenue? Like, did your stylist pull these looks for you? And speaking of looks and things pulled together, I mean, the whole family was styled down. When Rihanna went to court, of course she was always styled, but what really took it, over the top into the next level with me was not only was ASAP dressed down, but Rihanna was dressed down, and then so were the kids. The kids were all in designer attire as well, and I thought that was cute. You have the whole family in attendance, and your whole family in support of you during this very critical and potentially life changing decision that may come down. So, I think those things, when you think about juries, and I don't know if you've ever sat on a jury before, but the jury selection process is one in which the potential people that could be determining the fate of the defendant, they're asked certain questions individually. And how you answer those questions will determine if the attorney feels like, yes, you will be a good juror, or no, we don't think that you'd be a good juror. The jury selection process is one in which the and they were chosen. So, I'm wondering if any of the pre-jury selection questions that were asked, I wonder if anyone asked, Do you know who ASAP Rocky is? Do you know who Rihanna is? Are you familiar with their relationship? Are you familiar with the fact that they're a couple, a quote unquote, common in law husband and wife at this time, that they happen to share two children? The kids were not there during any other time of the trial except for the very last day. And I personally think that was, a very calculated decision and a very calculated move. But I think it was to present that there are a family unit, that ASAP is about family and taking care of his family. He has the support of his family. We're giving you a view of, his quote unquote wife, his actual children, and they're in support of him, no matter what is happening and no matter what's going on. One of the other things too, in reading about this case and the information, was that the defense did not really, in my opinion, do a great job of really presenting hard, factual evidence that ASAP had the intention of trying to harm Relly over this whole situation. So when you read through what's presented by the prosecution and what they're trying to get the jury to, find him guilty with a potential 24-year sentence behind bars, that's when the defense team comes in and it's like, okay, we need your family here. You got kids, bring the kids. Let
Yeah,
the jury see that, you're a man at the end of the day,
I
and a spouse and a father.
I think that that was like the probably time where everybody was like got a little bit more worried about the trial is when he didn't accept the plea deal.
Right.
But of course, in a case like this one, yeah, I mean, I probably would have fought it too. Just, like
Mm-hmm.
why would I accept something that is not? And
Right.
you can clearly tell, like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just
No,
my personal opinion. Those do not look like, bullet fragments. It just looks like
yeah,
more
they
like a
they
brawl, a fight, like,
right,
I mean,
right.
just my personal opinion, but
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, that stuff could have been picked up from anywhere, and then the fact that when they had it tested, there was no fingerprints or anything on it, that led to more questions. Okay, did someone pocket these fragments and then scatter them in the area? Is it from a prior incident with different unknown persons that happened to get into a gunfight, and those bullet fragments were left over from a prior gunfight? I mean, those are also things, that you have to look at. There was no real hard, specific, evidence that was pointing to that. You just have the video surveillance and you can see them clearly. They're arguing, and there's some shoving and there's things like that that's going on. But even with that being presented, that doesn't mean that this man, pulled out a weapon and shot at you.
right.
I don't see that happening. I mean, Rihanna would kick his ass if he put himself in a situation to get locked up and was going to be behind bars for 24 years, missing their children's entire grow up and all of that. She's not going to tolerate that. She's not going to tolerate that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. But I just, I thought that it was interesting that I didn't think it was interesting when they had earlier footage of Rihanna attending court and being there for Rocky to support. I mean, that's what a significant other does. That's what your partner does. If you got something going on, you're being accused of something, you have something hanging over your head that you're depending upon 12 people to make a decision as to your fate, I'd be worried too, but I would also be there to support my person. And let's take the celebrity and being famous and let's take that off the table. If it was just me or you, regular schmegular people, if your man is in a situation where he's facing charges and whatnot, I mean, you're going to be there to support. You're going to be there, so that the jury can see and the prosecution can see that you are in there to support your person. And I think that that's what it was. And the press took it and they ran with it. And they're trying to find a reason for him being acquitted, other than the fact that there just was not significant evidence. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to, is not having significant evidence. There's no text messages discussing the shooting. There's no text messages back and forth between ASAP and really talking about, a fight, or they're going to have to take it to the streets, or anything else. So I just think that it was a very
And I think that if he
circumstantial
would have
case.
been charged for that and had to sit in prison for that long,
Hmm.
that would be an injustice. So,
It would.
yeah, I feel the same way. So,
It would. Absolutely. But yeah, that's what I wanted to just kind of talk about. I know it had been something that was on the topic list when the charges first came down, and all of that, but we didn't get a chance to discuss it, and we got pushed off into a later date. And I thought, what better time than the present, since we initially talked about this a couple of months ago. Didn't get into the details, but
right.
now we know the outcome, that he was acquitted and they can resume living their happily ever after lives that they've been living. And to me, I mean, they seem like they're a happy couple. To me, it seems like they really are a familiar unit, that they have each other's backs. They care about each other. They care about their children. And for the most part, they're just minding their business, trying to live their lives. They both had been in relationships before that didn't work out for one reason or another, but their chemistry and their vibe, it works for them, and they seem happy. And anytime you can see a black family, a black couple happy and living their best life, you want to root for that.
Amen to
So,
that. Yes.
yeah. So I'm definitely rooting for that. So that's it. That's all I had for today. Just wanted to bring that to the forefront for some of those that may not have had an awareness that this was even going on. I was talking to somebody and they were like, "What? I didn't know anything about that."
Right.
And it's like, well, they kind of kept it quiet, but that's what we're here for, to give you those little tidbits and slices of information to help empower you as to knowing what's going on out here in these streets and in this world. But you and I are going to continue to work on our plan. We're going to be back live with you guys, and back live with being able to have guests and a slew of other things. We are upgrading for 2025, so you are going to see all new things and some different things for Real Chill Conversations. We thank you so much for hanging in there and continuing to comment and respond to quotes and posts that we put in the chat. We thank you for that, and we'll keep it moving. So everyone, enjoy your Sunday. It's the day before Monday, where we all have to go back to work. I know I do. I got to go back to work, and I'm like, dang, that weekend went by fast.
Yes.
It flew on by. Do you have any ideas as to what we might be getting into next week? Are you gonna keep it a secret until a little bit later on, and then drop a little hint as to what our next conversation is gonna be?
I had a couple of things in mind, like I always do. Like, I was had this conversation with I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what got me to post it onto the group
Yes.
about would you go into business with your partner?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very good one
I
because
do. I agree.
I wanna hear like other people's perspective on this. Maybe we can help out others or somehow to see it in many perspectives, not just one. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you really gotta have a strong foundation in your relationship to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And I'm definitely looking forward into getting into that topic. I won't get too much into it before we discuss it right now, but I know that you're in a situation in a scenario and where multiple times over ever since I've known you, you and your significant other, your spouse, your husband, you guys have been involved in different things, and whether or not you're in the forefront, the side front, the back front. You still have everything to do with what's going on because you guys have conversations, you talk about it. He asks for your input, asks for your ideas, and then there's things that you decide to do jointly